How's it going, everyone? Steve Martin here. I am coming off of 6 days in a row riding. This snowmobile is well off of break-in, and I have done literally zero maintenance to this thing. So I took today off. We're going to go through the first check. Be really easy, but it's stuff you can do in your garage. Let's check it out. And this is the first time I've had the clutch cover off since it was brand new. Right out of the crate, I installed the above 10,000 foot clutching setup right off the Ski-Doo spec sheet. So this is using all Ski-Doo parts, but it's calibrated for above 10,000 feet, which I normally ride. So I haven't made a belt adjustment yet, and you can see that the valley of the cogs is below the sheave of the secondary. That's a good indicator that my belt is stretched or got a little skinnier, but it is really loose, and I haven't really noticed a loss in performance, but we're gonna go ahead and tighten it up. For this, I'm just going to use the tools right out of the snowmobile, the belt tool and this guy. So we're going to tighten it up. So we actually loosen this off. And it is reverse thread. And we'll spin it and bring that belt up in the sheave. So it's quite a bit, even the valley is above the clutch sheave, but I'm looking for, it's really tight against the primary. And we have noticed that if you give it extra tight, really the only downfall is if you get it too tight, it'll have a hard time going into reverse. So not the end of the world. If I ever run into that, I just go the other way, loosen it just a touch, but this is going to give me a lot more throttle response. Like I said, I didn't really notice a loss in throttle response, but we're here. This sled has quite a few miles on it. And don't forget to tighten the adjuster. And there we go, belt's ready to roll. And a quick note while we're at the belt, spin it around or even take it off and make sure there are no flat spots, especially if you're a pin and wiggle guy. I'm not, no flat spots here. And while we have the clutch cover off, you can kind of check chain tension. I'm not very good at this feel, so I just go over to the other side and give it a little snug. I just have the side panel popped open on this side. It's a T25. You can use the belt tool. It has a T25 on one end. If I'm in the shop, so I'm gonna use a screwdriver. I'll get in close and show you how it's done. All right, so I ended up taking the side panel off because I only have two hands, but you can see the screwdriver is engaged in the adjuster. I'm just going to snug it. This is a screwdriver, so I'm not putting a ton of tension on it. There's probably a torque spec for this, but I have a good feel for it. You don't have to do anything with that pin. Just leave it there. The adjuster has a square edge, and that keeps it from backing out. And chain is adjusted. These Hyvo chains have been really good. They'll take an initial stretch, and once, probably 300 or 400 miles, you'll get a little bit of turn with your screwdriver and the adjuster, and that's about it. Every 300 or 400 miles I check it, but I'm not seeing a lot of stretch. Okay, I kind of lied earlier. The one thing I have done is I did adjust my track a couple days ago. I loosened the axle with 15 millimeter wrenches, and it's a 10 millimeter adjuster, and I went 8 quarter turns, so 2 full turns. It wasn't that loose. So I think it's 15 pounds. This is about correct right here. The new 25 driver has been great. This thing hasn't ratcheted once, but I really want to prevent it. If they ratchet too much, drivers are toast, but so far so good. I'm not even going to make an adjustment because that track looks nice. The next thing I'm going to check is all the dealer installed items. We'll put wrenches on them, but the upper and lower shock bolts on the ski shocks, the skis themselves. We're gonna have a look at the runners. Not great, but they'll last maybe another month or so. And for the skis, I need a 15 and a 16. And they're tight. And the shocks are a 12 and a 13 millimeter. Nice and snug. I'll check the other side. And on this one, the head of the bolt is inside the snowmobile, but I can put a wrench on the nut and feel that it's tight. Probably gonna check the alignment on this thing too. Keeps pulling towards your mom's house. Just kidding. And one of the last things I'm gonna check is the air intake for the CVT. It's designed to pull air through this vent and discharge through this vent here, and I'll show you close up. This system is actually pulling more air than the engine is using, which is wild to me. So some belt dust will build up on this screen here. We're going to take compressed air and lightly blow it out and get it nice and clean. And if you didn't have an air compressor in your garage, I think a can of duster for your computer would probably do the trick. I don't know how you'll be able to tell on camera, but I'm really impressed with how clean it is in here. This sled is 400 miles on it or so, and those are all heavy mountain miles, but everything's really nice and clean. You can see a lot of brake dust here that I'm going to go clean off here in a second, but the CVT compartment's really nice and clean. And while it's in here, might as well give it a bath and get rid of that brake dust with some XPS degreaser. This stuff is amazing. I'll just spray it on, let it sit, and hose her down. Check it out, looks brand new. And last, we'll hit it with some XPS quick detailer, and this thing's ready for the mountain. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe.